Welcome to another episode of the Alpha Intuition Podcast. I'm your host, Keisha L. Blair, and I'm going to help you guys crack that crazy girl code. Today, our topic is why women cheat. But before I get into that, I want to welcome back our host from last week, or excuse me, our co-host from last week, Mind Wellness Coach, Essen Charbro. Welcome, Essen. Thank you for joining me again.
Hey, how you doing, Keisha? It's good to be back. I'm excited for the show.
Doing well, doing well. I had a lot of encouraging compliments about you being on the show, so I wanted to have you back because, man, we just had some great conversations last week, and I think this week it is just going to continue.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. Let's go on whenever you're ready. I'm ready to get into it, girl. These are some great topics.
Yeah.
You have a wonderful show.
All right, let's get into it then. All right, so my first topic is about, we're just going to talk about why women cheat.
Mm, girl.
All right, so tell me your thoughts on why you think women cheat.
So I have never cheated before, believe it or not. I've never cheated, so I cannot speak from my own experience on this, but I do have a lot of homegirls who have cheated. And
Mm.
I have wanted to cheat myself. I have wanted to cheat, right? So my personal reasons why I've wanted to cheat was just, the guy not being involved, seeming like he doesn't care, seeming like, maybe he's doing something on the side, not engaging, not really, seeming like he's, into the relationship. Those are reasons why I could see why women want to cheat. If he's doing her wrong, she should leave. I don't know about cheating, just leave. But I don't know, Keisha, what are some of your reasons?
Hold on. You know what? I think I just lost my light, and I do not want to be sitting here in the dark. So, every
Oh,
show has
yeah,
these
take your time.
technical difficulties, so that's okay. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna plug my light back up.
I don't know, girl, but you the light, you shine.
Oh my gosh! Well, I think it's like the electrician don't have no power. That's not good at all. You know what I mean? Oh my gosh! I don't want to. I'm like, I
That's
did not see
right.
that one
Because we
coming.
know you fix
Oh,
things. What-
oh,
It's just
let
like
there
last
be
week. We
light.
know
There
you
we
fix things.
go. Oh my
There
goodness,
it
let there
is.
be light. Right? Okay. All right. Good deal. Oh my goodness.
Boom.
Now,
Boom.
okay. Anyway, so back to our topic: why women cheat. Honestly, I think that women cheat because of the situation that they're in. I think that, men kind of cheat. We talked about this last week. Men kind of cheat because of, they think that their spouse or significant other won't find out. And I think that women cheat because for revenge. Now, like I said, it doesn't apply to all women,
Ooh.
but I think that when women cheat, we kind of want the man to find out because we're doing it. Now, these are people that are in relationships, right? And if you're with someone and you know this man has been cheating on you all the time, and you have these intuitive thoughts to where something might be happening, and then you actually find out. Women, we cheat with a purpose, and it's almost like you really, really want your partner to know how it feels to be cheated on. So I think some women do it because they want to get caught. What are your thoughts
That
on
You know what? I think you bring up one of those hidden reasons that women might not even say that out loud. Like that
that?
really is a cheat code right there for guys because that is so true. Women do want revenge. When I've been like done wrong, I want that man sometimes to feel exactly like how he made me feel, whether it's cheating or anything. So yeah, that
Yeah,
actually, and I've had homegirls who did do that. It's like, oh, he gonna know how I feel, but I'm like,
exactly.
you ain't gonna leave him alone though because you still want him and love him, but he gonna know how this feel.
Correct. And then what that adds, well, and see, look, that really adds another element to the relationship, because usually we already know that brothers, y'all already know y'all not as strong as us when it comes to cheating. And because it's almost like we become immune to it because it's happened so many times, in different situations. And then when a man gets cheated on, it's almost like he doesn't want to deal with the pain that comes behind it. And that's when usually, he'll want to break up with his girlfriend because, or his wife or his woman, because it's like, oh my God, I can't believe you actually cheated on me. But it's like, you cheated on me numerous times, and now the one time I do, it's a deal breaker for you. So I think that sometimes women don't think that that's going to be the outcome, and it ends up making, two wrongs don't make a right. It ends up making a bad situation worse.
Do you think that some women cheat for validation also, like, or for money? Like if one guy doesn't have the money and then another guy over here, he's got more, or he gives her more attention, or he's got better equipment. Do you think women are cheat for that reason?
That depends on how much she loves the man that she's with. That's what I would think. Because you can have a surface level relationship to where a person may be only invested in it for the money. So if they're not getting that element out of the relationship, then they're going to go elsewhere to get that element, right? Speaking of women, so if it's because maybe you're not being satisfied sexually, and then they may decide to step out. But for me, I feel like that being satisfied sexually, it's because of how much you care about that person, because it just gets better and better the more that you're with that person. So I think there may be a lot of other things that go into cheating, if that is the reason, if she's feeling like she's not satisfied.
Wow. I wonder how often, because it's a lot of talk right now about women they're just gonna go to the dude that's just got the most money. They're gonna leave you and skip off to somebody else, and for nothing, other than the superficial stuff, the vain stuff. But I think it's just like what you said about needing that depth. Like if you have that depth with a person, you might not be as quick. It might, but see, I feel like the deeper that is,
Mhm.
the more in love a woman is, like the more emotional the cheating once it happens.
What do you mean, the more emotional the cheating?
Like you've hurt me so bad over here that now I'm just gonna start giving my it's like I'm emotionally turned off from you. So now, they say women cheat emotionally. It's not
Mhm.
merely just the physical. So it's like what I haven't gotten this from him for years. So I'm gonna get this from him over here now at my job. He's
Mhm.
giving me this attention. He's doing that for me. You know what I mean? Or we click really well. He makes me feel important and needed. He compliments me. He's not afraid to compliment me. You know what I'm saying? He
Mhm.
takes me out to lunch. You haven't taken me nowhere. You know what I mean? So then it becomes more emotional than physical, is what a lot
Yeah.
of people say. But what do you think? Do you think
Well,
it's more emotional with women, or is it sex?
I think for women, me being one of them, right? I think that um, we are very vocal about our needs. So if we're constantly
Mm-hmm.
saying, you never take me out, constantly saying we never do these things, and then it continues on, because most of the time, if a woman is pouring into a man, he's going to feel as though,
Mm-hmm.
I don't really have to do those things because you're doing everything that I need you to do for me. So why would I go and do these other things
Right.
when there's no need for it? So, and a woman is constantly saying, yes, I need this, but you're still pouring into that man, and eventually, we get tired, we get frustrated, and it comes to a point to where we've had enough, and then it's like, you know what, maybe I should start looking elsewhere because he's not listening to me. So it's all about that communication element in men, knowing that just because I'm still pouring into you, when I'm being vocal, you need to listen. When I stop talking, that's when there's a problem.
Right. Ooh. So I will admit that's how I am as well. When I go quiet, that means I feel like there is nothing more to discuss. I've gotten all the information that I've needed. If you're not going to offer any more information, there's nothing more there. If you know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? So you hit the nail on the head with that. I do believe that people give up too quickly. I do believe that sometimes nowadays you have people that they just going out, they just trying to get the next thing. The minute it's like I'm tired, I'm go over here now. Because people are feeling like, do you think people feel like they have more options because of the internet? So they gonna be quicker to cheat? Like women will be quicker to cheat because it's like, okay, I'm gonna go online and I'm gonna start posting 1,000 pictures of myself to get validation. And then that's gonna open the door and I get somebody else.
I think the person's going to cheat. They're going to cheat whether it's internet, no internet. It could be the towers are down. It could be you could be sitting in your house and not have any Wi-Fi, whatever the case may be. If you feel like you want to cheat, you're going to find a way to cheat. So I don't think
Mm,
I think that those are excuses if a person says that, oh, because we have the internet, that gives me, more options. Well, why are you looking for those options? Because if I love someone and I'm with that man and he's with me, I mean, he's my only choice. I don't need to go look for options.
I think people just, I honestly think a lot of women want attention. I really do. I think that if, we get on men for like their little internet,
Mhm.
likes and stuff with different women, but I be feeling like, women do the same thing. Women will go on there and be like, okay, well, I think it enhances the idea to cheat. Like it just
Mhm.
enhances that 10 times fold because it's like, all right, well, I'm gonna go give me some attention then. I might not even want to cheat, but somebody gonna tell me I look pretty today. I think chicks
So,
be foolish like that.
yeah, well, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say that if I am on a strict diet and I know that fast food is not good for me, I'm not gonna walk inside a fast food restaurant. I'm not gonna walk inside McDonald's and just stand there and say, well, they shouldn't even have the McDonald's open. I mean, they giving me all these options to cheat. Why did I even go inside McDonald's in the first place, thinking that I wasn't gonna want nothing? So why would you even go on the internet thinking that you're gonna not want to partake to the things that are out there on the internet? What are you looking for? Why are you putting yourself in a situation knowing that you can't, what's I'm looking for? If you're not going to be able to reject those options, don't put yourself in that situation. That's what I
Okay,
would.
then quick question. Okay, quick question then. Should that man take that woman back? Let's just say he just hasn't given her the emotional attention that she needs. So she cheats with somebody else. An emotional affair turns into a physical one. She explains that to him. Do you think that man should stay with her? Because I know it's dudes in that situation.
Wait, the first one or the second one? You lost me.
Oh shoot, my bad. Look, check me. Stop me at one question, Keisha. You know I'm horrible at that. I'll throw like three questions. Do
I
you
know that. I'm
think?
like, which
A,
one?
do you think a man should take a woman back who cheated?
Do I think a man should take a woman back who cheated? So I'm going to just say a person. Should a person take a person back who cheated? Because whether it's a male or female, I mean, what would be the difference? And that's going to lead it. And real quick, that's going to lead us into our second topic where we talk about relationship and human behavior. Because does it matter whether it's male or female? Because the behavior is still there. So if a person cheats, should you take them back? Because you already know Maya Angelou's saying, right? Person shows you who they are, believe them the first time because they know themselves much better than you. So if you decide to take a person back after they cheat on you, not saying it could happen again, but don't be surprised if it does because it's their behavior, it's in their nature.
Okay, so it's a character. It's a character flaw,
Mm.
regardless of any excuse. It's a character flaw. It's the level of loyalty that you hold within yourself and with your people within your circle. Right, right. I get that. I get that. And you know what they always say, and tell me if you agree with this or what your thoughts are on this. How they talk about relationships being based off of the relationships with our parents. I think you actually did mention, you talked a little bit about that last week when you talked
Mhm.
about, yeah, your father. How do you think a man and a woman's relationship reflects, with their significant other, if that, let's just say the parent wasn't there, or let's just say the parents cheated on each other? How do you think that affects, the relationship, the romantic relationship?
Well, it. I think if people don't deal with childhood trauma, then yeah, it can be something that can be a negative impact on a relationship if you're not aware of why your parents did certain things or why you do certain things. Of course, we all have behavioral traits that stem from when we were younger. And if you continue to do those things and you keep getting the same outcome, but you think that the outcome is going to be different, that's the definition of insanity. So you have to understand that if you want something different, you have to do something different. And if your parents were in a toxic relationship and you repeat that cycle, I mean, why would you think that you're going to get something other than a toxic relationship? Right.
It's
So
yep.
I
It's
was going
totally
to,
my opinion. I'm sorry,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. My bad.
You finished. You go ahead.
It's completely my thought that if you already know that you came out of some dysfunction, you either had a broken household or you had, just toxic household, anything like that. Because you could have had a broken household. You didn't have to have a mother and a father, but there was a lot of love, right?
Hmm.
But even then, to me, what I learned is I have to still go back and say, how has that affected me?
Hmm.
What have my relationships in the past looked like? Do you think that men and women reflect enough? Because they say about 50% of marriages end in divorce. So, like, do you think that people are going into marriage looking and seeking to find where they might be broken and need to be fixed before
No.
going into relationships?
Of course not. So so you mentioned a point. You mentioned something a second ago. You were talking about loyalty, right? So when I think about my behavior and I think about cheating and I think about being loyal to someone, which I'm a very loyal woman, but it's more about me having loyalty to myself. And I choose to not share myself with more than one person at a time. And if I'm with someone, I mean, he's just going to get the benefit of how I feel about myself and, the things that I want to do for me. So I'm loyal to me. And then the person that I'm with, they're just receiving the benefit of the loyalty that I have to myself.
ah, I don't think people know themselves and they be going into relationships. They just be
Yeah.
like, you got to validate how I'm feeling. I don't know why I feel like this, but you need to just deal with it. And if you don't, I'm gonna go over here to Johnny and Joe.
Yeah, but you gotta think about it. So it's like, but see, and I think when I was younger, I may have felt that way, but being older and having an opportunity to search within myself and to figure out who I am, I don't have to look for other people to validate me. I have to validate myself. So when you look outward for something that should be inward, there's always going to be a problem. You can't go seeking in the world for what you don't have inside of you.
So, okay, okay. So tell me this. I was dating this guy, and I said, I noticed how, I compliment you, right? And I noticed that you don't really compliment in return.
Mm.
And I didn't, and I said, why is that? He said, look, if you're looking for somebody to validate you, that ain't me.
Well, but
That's
I'm
just
like,
not gonna be me.
so, but let me ask you this question. So, were you only complimenting him so he would compliment you back?
No, I genuinely and authentically speak, positive, into people's lives. And if I
Mm,
see a man that's looking good, I'm like, oh, baby, you look good. I just say it. I don't say it with an expectation. But what I did
mm,
was over time, I noticed that
mm,
he wasn't doing it back.
mm,
And so maybe, or he'd be like I'd see him looking, but he won't say nothing. So then I heard somebody say this, Keisha. I heard somebody say when they don't do that, when they're trying not to compliment you, and I even did a video on it like a while back. When somebody is trying not to compliment you, it's like they're insecure themselves and they're like
mm,
scared they don't want your head to blow up. So it's like
mm,
they don't want to compliment you. You looking so good. It's like, yeah, if I say something, but yet they still want to like take you out. They want to, but they don't want to say nothing. They don't want to give you your props. And so it makes me wonder. I'm not saying every man is like that, but what do you think about that? Like,
So I saw something just the other day. It was a post where it was said, "Don't." I don't want to get it wrong. Don't encourage behavior that you don't want to see in the future. Meaning, like, if a man
mm,
says to a woman, or doesn't say anything about her fixing herself up right, and you're always getting dressed up, and this person never compliments you, never says anything, or says to you like, I don't want you wearing stuff like that because you're dressing up, and then person decides to just dress down, not wear makeup, never put themselves together, and then what's the end result? You end up saying something like, man, you don't even take care of yourself no more. Well, when I did, you
ooh,
never appreciated me for it, so I just stopped doing it.
So I kind of started feeling like that about my ex,
Mhm.
right? And I said, if it wasn't for me just liking to look good for myself, I might go into that space where I'm like, I don't care because, but I don't do it for the guy. But I can see how some people, men and women, they be like, oh, how do you think that is with a guy? Like, God,
Mhm.
men will do things and they're like, do she even appreciate what I'm doing, to the point where they stop doing stuff? Do you think that's a
Mhm.
thing too? Like, similar?
So, I mean, I think it could be. But I think that, like you mentioned, you hit the nail on the head when you said that, you have to validate yourself. You shouldn't worry about people trying to tell you what you look like. Of course, it's always nice to hear those compliments, but if you don't worry about it. You walk past the mirror, you look good for you. When you walk out that house, you know that you are the best version of you. And if nobody pays attention to it, it doesn't matter. That doesn't mean that you look any less beautiful, right? Just because someone doesn't acknowledge it. It's always nice to hear,
Right.
but if you don't, I just wouldn't even worry about it. Just know that you are a beautiful person inside and out, and just roll with that. And I think that I think that men really should probably compliment their woman more. And even if you've been in a long-term relationship, we still want to hear those compliments. We still want that same type of energy that we got in the beginning of the relationship, right? We want to make sure that we're adored, that we're loved, because it makes us want to pour back into that person more, because we see that they are seeing us for who we truly are.
Yeah, because they don't want to see the crazy come out like we talked about last week.
Well, I mean, it just depends, just depends now. That can come out at any given moment. It
Why
depends on
don't
the
you tell me you
situation.
love me? Be like that little baby. You love me? You love me? You see that post? You
No, I
love
haven't
me?
seen that one.
Yes. Oh my
So,
gosh, this is little baby constantly saying, trying to get validation. Like, you love me? Tell me you love me. You love me? She was like, do
but the
you
thing
love
is,
me?
yeah, well, I'm gonna say
Huh?
this. I'm gonna say this, that I don't like to ask that question of a man, do you love me?
Mm,
Because you have to be prepared for the answer that you're going to receive. And if you're not prepared for the answer you're going to receive, whether it's in your favor or not, don't ask the question. I don't ask men questions like that. I figure if he loves me, he's gonna show me, because men, they they're they can say whatever they want to say, but you go by a man's actions. And if a man gonna show you he love you, he don't have to say it. He's gonna show it.
that's what I was thinking. If you have to ask, it's either something wrong with you or he ain't it. And something that I'll
Well,
be saying is, oh, go ahead.
and I was gonna say, if you have to ask, that means he's not showing it, right? And whether he says
Right,
it or not, is he gonna be honest? And some guys are not going to want to hurt the person's feelings, because they don't want to deal with the aftermath and the conversations that comes along after that, because we know, we as women, sometimes we just talk too much when there's a leading conversation like that, and the guy's not going to want to deal with it, so he's just going to shut it down. He might just say yeah, just to say yeah, just so you can stop asking. And he's going to continue on the
right.
behavior to where he's not showing you that he loves you, because if a man loves a woman, he's going to show it. You're not going to have to ask.
That's my belief. That's why I said it's either an insecurity, there really is something extra going on with that woman, or you're not gonna have to ask that of the man. You really are gonna be able to sense it, know it, feel it. He might show a little bit of something, but that just might mean he cares. It might not mean that he loves. But yes, and then that kind of, the conversations. How do you even go into those conversations if you even want to know? Like, if you want to get into that man's head, say, hey, how do you feel about me? How do you even begin to have those conversations?
Yeah. Most guys I know don't like having them conversations. they don't they don't like to have those conversations, right? It's just like that's like women chatter. We want to hear tell me why you love me, because this and because that. Where guys, it's like, um I think they would rather steer away from those type of conversations. Guys, if uh if I'm saying something wrong, like I said, by all means put it down there in the chat and you let me know. But as far as I know, all the men that I've had conversations with, they don't like conversations like that. They don't want to. That's sharing feelings, right? They don't want to share feelings. They rather just show you by acting out and letting you know how they feel by showing you those actions. And I think that some women, we get caught up in the words as opposed to the doing. because love is an action verb, right? So when someone loves you, they're going to show you.
I blame rom-coms. I blame the movies. I blame these movies that have us think, because they look, they be serious. They be having these men coming and talking to us, telling us everything we want to hear in these movies, and then we come home to Jody, and he looking like, what you expect me to say?
So look, I'm gonna go to the next topic on that. We ain't gonna talk about Jody. So this right here, don't talk, just listen. When we talk about women, men, you always have this thing that when a woman is talking and she's telling you about her day or whatever the case may be, you guys start going into fix it mode. You start wanting to try to figure out what you need to do to fix it. In those moments, we don't even want y'all to try to fix nothing. All we need is just a listening ear. Sometimes we just want to vent. We don't want you to try to fix our problem. We don't want you to try to figure out how we gonna beat the woman up at work who done pissed us off that day. Um, you know, we, we just want to make sure that we have a listening ear. So when you're in those in-depth conversations, sometimes it's just good to maybe, active listening. So it might be like a for real, oh my God, did she really do that? Active listening, but there's no thing for you to have to mitigate or to try to fix in that moment. So Essence, have you ever had those conversations with the guy to where he's constantly trying to figure out how to fix that element that you're trying to describe to him when you're just trying to just vent?
Yes, I get the whole you're being too emotional, you need to think logically conversation back. And then he's
Mm.
trying to fix it with his logic where I just need to be in my feelings. So that never goes too well. Where I'm like, just let me be emotional. Let me feel what I'm feeling. And you just need to agree. And it don't matter if it's right or wrong, just agree. Let me vent. But I think it's important to I think it's important to verbalize, hey, look, I just need you to listen. I just need you to vent. I think that's on the woman's part to kind of express that, because the dude gonna be like, okay, you ain't making no sense. Why is that your friend if she's doing this and this and that?
Oh
Okay, then
my
we're gonna have
God.
this conversation again next week. Why are
Look,
you still at that job if you don't like it?
look. So my exact and that's trying to fix it, right? But my thing is, normally it's like when I get that, that's when I get in my feelings and I'm like, why can't you just be on my side? You know what I mean? It's like at that moment, you just want an ally. You just want somebody to feel the way you feel, think the way you think, and like ride when you need to ride. It's like I'm looking for my best friend in this moment. I'm not looking for nobody to tell me what I need to do wrong. Because in this moment, I'm trying to be the one that I mean, I'm not caring about why I need to fix me. Because in this moment, I feel like I'm wrong, even if I'm wrong.
Say that's another conversation. We'll talk about me later. That's another
Thank
conversation.
you. I ain't talking about me. I'm talking about what she did wrong.
Yeah, I think it is important for guys to what you said, come out of fix it mode, but to determine, and then he can ask the question and say, "Hey, before we get started, babe, is this you want me to help you fix it situation, or is
Or
this the I just need you to be quiet and vent?" Like,
I just
ask that
want
question. It's all right.
you just want me to be in don't talk, just listen mode, or do you want me to be in give you corrective actions mode, right?
Right, right. Like, do I just need to be like a stuffed animal and you come and hug and snug and you laugh and you cry? Am I just a stuffed animal that you pulling off the bed real quick? Like, just let me know my place right now. But yeah, that's actually
Mm,
that's a really good point, Keisha. That is a good point, because I'm not always good at that, even though I know and I have the emotional intelligence to deal with
mm,
that. But sometimes, especially I really give you credit because you help deal with my ADHD all the time. I'll be all over the page. So imagine that in a relationship with a guy,
mm,
and I just need to talk about one thing, then I skip to the next thing, then I skip to the next thing. And I'm just like, I have to communicate where I'm at mentally. I have to communicate that. It's only fair to the men to be able to communicate and say, hey, I just need you to listen. But
mm.
sometimes we don't say that. And if we don't say that first, it's good for you to gain the skill of discernment and know where you stand.
Look, so I'm going to say you just brought up a good point about how we jump from conversation because I do that too, right? I feel like I am in touch with my ADHD. It works for me. But
Me
that is
too.
equivalent. That is equivalent That is equivalent, my brothers, my men who are listening. That is equivalent to y'all channel surfing on the TV. When you be jumping from
Ooh,
channel to channel to channel to channel, it's like I'm a conversation jumper, like you a channel jumper. So yeah, I might switch 2 or 3 conversations. So when you're speaking, as far as women, when we're speaking to our friends that understand how we are, like you can be talking about a whole nother conversation. I'm talking about a whole nother conversation, and then I'm answering to you, and you answer me, but we in 2 different lanes driving right next side of each other. So y'all have to understand that we conversation surf just like y'all channel surf.
ooh, that I'm bad at that sometimes. Like I even look, I could even lose you. Look, just how earlier you were just like, hold on, Essence, just one thing at a time. So, and we're women, and we know how this goes. So yeah,
Mhm.
but we're accustomed to it. It could just frustrate men. Men would just be like, look, I done checked out. I'm sorry, I checked out the conversation 5 minutes ago.
It's like,
And
and
then,
sometimes I'll just be honest, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I just wasn't listening.
right.
My bad, I
Well,
wasn't
men to
listening.
do that too. My brother Jerry, he will definitely do that. He'll be like, hold on, you about to lose me if you keep going. If you talk about that topic, I'm not interested in that. Can we just like
Mm,
talk about something else, or let's talk about what we were already talking about? Because I will jump to the next thing. And you know what? One guy
mm,
even told me, I was talking to him, he was listening, and his feedback to me was, and he was a journalist. He said, Essence, I just find it to be so cute how you go from topic to topic to topic, and then you find one topic that you really love and you just stay on that topic. That's cute. But he was being
mm.
facetious. I said, you
I
know
could
what?
tell. Yeah, he
We
was
ain't friends
probably,
no more.
being very facetious. So,
Yeah.
so since we're talking about fixing stuff, right? This is one of my favorite things. I had to learn this early. Well, I no, it took me a little bit later than earlier in my life to where I learned this that it's okay to let a brother fix some stuff for you, even though I can fix a whole bunch of stuff myself. But it's just that feeling of accomplishment, and I think sometimes when we lose sight of that, that men they want to feel wanted. And as women, I know I didn't always give them the opportunity to feel wanted. But we need to make sure that we consider that too, because men, they definitely want to be wanted. They want to feel needed. Um, so have you ever dealt with a situation like that to where you may have had somebody that wanted to do something for you and you were just like, oh no, that's okay, I'll take care of it or I'll do it myself.
Yeah. But it took me a long time to recognize it though. Like I didn't realize I was jumping ahead and opening my own door. I didn't realize I
Mm,
was, getting something that, no, I'll pay for it. No, I'll get it. No, I'll find it. You know what I mean? And now, but I would see other women just letting guys do stuff. And I'm like, you could have done that yourself. Well, why? He wanted to do it.
mm,
And it's giving men the opportunity to really be men and to really show their care and to lead in these smaller ways. And I didn't know that early on. So early on, it actually made me like a micromanager. Because then not only was I jumping ahead for myself, but then I'm like, okay, for instance, I would say, can you take out the trash? And then he'd be like, because at this time I've taken the trash out so many times myself, he don't
mm,
believe that I'm really asking him to take out the trash,
mm,
right? Even though it was what he was willing to do in the beginning, but she don't mean that she gonna take it out in 10 minutes if I don't take it out, right? Right when she want me to take it out. So then here it is. I remember God spoke to me and was just like, thunder clouds roaring and was just like, hey, look, you need to let him believe you and you need to ask him, hey, can he take out the trash? And then don't do nothing. And I remember 2 weeks went by where he just took the trash because he took forever to do it, stacked it all on the patio, and was like, yeah, I'm gonna get to it. Yeah, I'm gonna get to it. Now, this is Arizona in the summer, which
mm,
is horrible. Like, I'm talking like
mm.
115. Okay. So by the time he got all that trash and had to take it down to the dumpster, guess who was now believing me when I asked, you know, can you take out the trash? Now he believed, okay, she really does want me really fully taking out the trash,
Mm,
and to let him fix it, let him do it, right? Let him even mess up, because he dripped all that stuff all on the
mm,
carpet and all of that stuff, tracking it out. But it was a lesson he had to really believe that I was really gonna ask him to do something and let him follow through on it. So that's another way too of letting a man fix something, I think. You tell me what you think, because it worked and I ain't have to
Mm.
ever ask him again.
So you're saying that your way to fix it was to stop doing it?
Yes, to let him
Um,
fix it, I had to stop fixing it myself.
mm,
And
that's
I had to
exactly
let him believe that I trusted him to actually fix it. I
that's
had to believe that,
mm,
okay, look, let's just take a leaky sink. Okay, this sink has been leaking for a month. Are you really going to fix it? Okay, well, I'm going to call in the person to come fix it. Okay, I told you I was going to get it. Let me get it. So now you're bringing in another man into the house to fix something that he said he was going to fix. So I didn't learn all of this until it was like way later, Keisha. And I feel like I should have learned it a lot sooner, but
mm.
I ain't gonna front. I had to kind of learn it the hard way, and I'm still learning.
You just made me cringe on that one. You had a man in the house, you
Yeah,
called another man in there to come fix something for you.
right.
Um, mm,
That's what I'm saying. I had to learn this thing the hard way, especially if he knows how to fix it, or if he just ain't got around to it, or he just gonna do it at his own pace. Well, to me, it's like, well, you're not thinking about how I got to deal with this while you at work, or while you know what I mean. Like you don't mind the leaky sink. I do.
mm. So I just
So
want to
then I
know. Wait, I just got a question. So how did that work out for you in the future after you brought somebody in to fix something after he wouldn't fix it? Did you get anything else fixed in the house? Or did you have to keep calling that same brother over to come fix it?
you
Because
know what,
I
you sleep.
would have been like, I'm just saying, I would have been like, oh no, you need to, oh no, so you, oh no, I thought you was gonna call a boy to have him come fix it.
Right. But see, that's I think that's, as women, we don't get that.
Mm,
We think we're just trying to get the job done, but we don't realize how that makes that man feel. You know
girl.
what I mean? Like it's like we don't think about that. We're not trusting him to fix it. We're not trusting him to handle it, even when he said he was gonna handle it. I think that's the thing, especially if he said he was gonna handle it, we don't give him the opportunity because we want stuff done. I wanted stuff done when I wanted it done.
Mm,
And I think that caused me a lot of problems because I remember God told
yeah.
me one day, he said, "Who micromanage you?" And I
Mm.
was like, "Nobody." Well, why you micromanage this grown man?
You ain't
That
gonna
must
get
have
too
been a
much
message from
done.
the ancestors, from the Holy Ghost, huh?
I'm just saying, I'm sure you probably didn't get too much done after that moment when you got brought somebody else in to do it. That's an insult. That's like example. I'm gonna say that's like, you let's just say you and your guy, you guys are both working every day and he keep telling you he wants something for dinner, he wants something for dinner, he wants something for dinner, and all of a sudden you come home one day and he can pull another woman in to come cook dinner. What you gonna do?
Girl,
You
she
gonna be
could
like,
be a
oh,
5-star
hell
chef.
no.
Look, she
That
could be
is
a
the
5-star
equivalent.
chef, and I'd be like, "What?"
That is the equivalent to you trying to bring another man into your house to fix something. You're gonna be like, what? And that is
Exactly.
exactly what. And every time from that point on, if he wants something to eat, what you gonna say? Nah, you gonna call over girl, tell her to go cook something for you. Yep. Ain't no more grocery
No,
store trips.
exactly.
No DoorDash. You can DoorDash something to eat. I wish I would cook you something else. So that's the same way. That's what I'm saying. I wonder how that worked out for you because I'm sure you probably didn't get too much fixed after that.
You know what? I'm gonna tell you. When I learned that, nah, straight up. When I learned that lesson, I ain't never had to worry about that. And then that's the thing. You ask, everything go back to communication. It's like, hey, look, are you able to handle this, or do you want me to call like the plumber? Do you want me to call? I can help you like that. Do you want me to help in that manner, or you got it like you gonna make the phone call, or you're gonna fix it yourself? You know what
Well,
I mean? Whether it's a door or
mm,
anything, I just came out with that understanding.
yeah. So what I'm going to say is that what I try to do is I try to find a way to express that there's a need without saying that I need you, you need to do this, you need to do this, because most time if you, like I said before, you tell a guy to do something and he's gonna do the opposite. So you don't just go say, let's go with the leaky
Whew.
faucet situation, right? Man, this faucet keeps leaking. When are you gonna, I need you to fix it, keep on fixing it. He'll just probably not fix it just because you asking him to fix it, right? So you gotta figure out a
What are we supposed
way
to do with that?
you got to figure out a way to make your idea his idea. without him knowing that it was your idea.
So for any women that's watching this, that may, because we know this for the men, but
Yeah,
for any woman, because we nosy, we gonna be like, what's this about? I got to know what they talking about.
baby,
So how can a woman how can a woman go about being subtle about her need for something to be fixed if he doesn't see that it needs to be fixed? How can
um,
she tell him?
let me think on that one for a minute. We might have to table that one because I'm going to have to put some thought into it because with something like that, when situations happen, I really, really try to think on how I want to approach the
Right.
situation instead of just continuously nagging. It's like I'll think of something clever to bring it up as to like, why
Right.
we get or how let's just we're going with the leaky faucet. How does this leaky faucet get fixed?
Right.
Right. So I'm gonna make sure we table that one till next week. We're gonna bring up this we'll bring up the leaky faucet situation next week on what can we do to make our idea his idea without him thinking that it was our idea. We'll think about that.
I
Yeah,
need some men to
yeah,
comment
yeah,
down
yeah,
below too. They need to
yeah,
comment so we can
yeah.
know too.
All right. So our next topic we're gonna roll into, Rusty, you got it back up there on the shelf. I got mine right here. This week we was watching the Mac. The Mac. So what
It's the Mac.
what interests me in this movie, because for one, it was made in 1973. That's the year I was born, right? So this movie is 50 years old. 50 years old, the
Yeah.
Mac. There's a lot of things that happened in 73, the birth of hip hop, right? It was all kind of stuff. So the Mac was one of those great things that we had that happened in 1973. I had a conversation with one of my old coworkers, Mark Bell, if you're watching, yes, I mean, this is a conversation we used to have back in the day. We were in an apprenticeship school, right? And this dude told me he used to watch the Mac all the time, like every day. And
Dang.
so we had a lot of conversations on it, right? So what were your thoughts, Essence, when you watched the Mac?
So the first time I watched the Mac, I watched it to see because I knew how influential it's been in the minds of men, even if just subconsciously from the music. I mean, because the soundtrack is still the
Mhm.
soundtrack that we listening to today. They just
Right.
remixed it into rap songs. So many of those songs, right? But back then, I looked at it to just see, okay, how these dudes trying to game women? How they trying to get in our heads? At that time, that's kind of how I looked at it, right?
Mhm.
But this time, when I looked at it from a mind wellness perspective, I never really paid attention to the subtle hints in the Mac that he didn't like himself. He
Mm.
told those kids, don't be like me. But yet
That's right.
all these men watched it to pull from him on how to
Mm.
Mac to women. And it's crazy because even, and I don't know if people, just for a little background in the movie, Keisha, I'd like to share. I don't know if people really understand. I really like the Mac because it is a moment in history. They
Mhm.
beefed. Frank Ward is who Goldie is based off of. The Ward
Yes.
brothers. They were
Mhm.
brothers of, five brothers. They were pimps. They were running a pimp game, and a lot of people don't understand. Like this man got killed in Oakland, like while they were
Mhm.
filming. Him and
Mhm.
one of his chicks in the back of the head. They got killed beefing, and we don't know if it was the Black Panther Party that did this. But you had these strong men who were saying, don't be
Mhm.
pimps, don't be prostitutes, don't do these things, don't, you know what I mean? Get out of that lifestyle. Don't treat our women like this, right? But that's what we didn't get that message. Even in the movie of the Mac, his brother in the movie was trying to tell him, man, we got to pull away from that, right? But we didn't pay attention to that part. We looked at him as like the extremist. We paid attention to Goldie. Goldie
Mhm.
was flashing, but he told those kids, don't be like me. Go to school,
Yeah.
be a doctor, be a lawyer. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? What do you think about? Did you catch that stuff, Keisha?
Yeah, so I'm gonna tell you what I noticed. So I actually watched the movie and I watched the documentary afterwards, right? I don't know if I think your copy may have the documentary. So if you haven't
Oh,
watched
I
it,
didn't
go
see
and
it.
watch the documentary. One thing that I noticed throughout the movie is it was about mind control. The movie was about mind
Yes.
control. It was about how the man can control a woman. And one thing that Goldie said, he said in there, don't ever let nobody take you away from yourself, right? Don't ever let, but this is exactly what they were doing to the women. They were taking the women away from themselves, right? And trying to get control of their minds because they already knew that, once it was easy just to get their body, but once they had their mind, they knew they had them, right?
Yeah.
So one of the big takeaways for me when I saw that movie. And then it also made me think about, so let's just, hey, this is a terrible comparison, but to The Lion King, because when you think about all when they were talking about no stereotyping, right? Because you had to think about the lion and the pride, right? You only got
Mhm.
one alpha male. You only got one king of the jungle. You only got one king. So when you think about the fence, even when they had what was it called? What was the man? What was the players ball? When they had the players ball, they had the pimp
Oh,
of the
that
year.
was a real player's ball.
It was right. So but they had to
Yeah.
have the pimp of the year. You can't. It wasn't no runner up. I mean, it wasn't no tie. It was clear cut who the pimp of the year was, right? So they had to have that one, and it's just like that's like in the animal kingdom the same way. You're not gonna have two lion kings. You're only gonna have one king. So it's similar, and you have to think about the pimp and his pride. The pimp and his pride, right? It's about his women. He
Right.
said a pimp is only as good as his product. They didn't even look at women as human. They considered us product.
And yeah, they did. That is so trippy.
Mhm.
I can't look at Lion King the same way no more, Keisha. Thank you. You done took it away. No, because you're
You
right.
can't put
Like
my
when you
glasses
think
on.
about that, yeah, excuse me, it's a lot of women
Hmm.
around the pimp. And it is. He's like the lion to the lionesses, and they go out and they hunt, they do the hunt, they bring the food. You know what I mean? That's a good point.
Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
absolutely, absolutely.
So
And
I mm-hmm.
no, I'm sorry. You go ahead.
Nope, go ahead, girl. I'm listening.
No, no, no. I was just sitting there trying to just think about just other things. And once I saw the documentary, it made so much sense because um was it Max Julian, right? That was
Yeah.
Goldie. He actually
Goldie.
said that he never would have done that movie if his mother had been alive. He had recently lost his mother, but he said he would never want his mother to think about him being a pimp or to treat women the way that they were being treated in that movie. He wouldn't even want to be betrayed that way. And that was one of the only reasons why he agreed to do the movie is because his mother had passed away. So I thought that was interesting
Wow.
too. Just and I'm bringing this up because of what we talked about last week in a way the relationship that a man has with his mother, right? So because of the respect he had for his mother, he would not have done the movie had she been alive. But
That
and
is nah, girl, finish. That was good. Keep on, cause yeah.
no, I'm sorry, didn't want to cut you off. Um, and so just thinking about how he dealt with that movie, or who the actor that he was in that movie, because I think he played an excellent role. But I have to wonder, was it really planned? Was that really truly a part of him? You know what I mean? I'm curious because back in the '70s, I mean, he had that Jim Kelly look, like kind of like my dad did, right? I know my dad wasn't always no saint. So because he was a handsome guy and looking like the War brothers, I'm just curious. I wondered, was that actually a part of his character that he played it so well?
You know, he did play it well. And it's so because he had a little flamboyancy about him, right?
Hmm.
And it's crazy because you think of it, you said, his mother had died. He would not have done it if his mom was alive, right?
Hmm.
This I just think about this moral aspect again, how all these men looked up to Goldie, and all these other movies came based off Frank Ward and the Ward brothers and all of
Hmm.
that, right? They were like the standard. And then to the point they after his death, his brothers went and got saved. Like
Wow.
they all like went and came over to the Lord. It's so crazy. Now, I don't know how authentically they came over to the Lord. They say pastor and be like pimping
Figure from the
sometimes.
pulpit. No.
So right, maybe it was an easy transition, you know what I'm saying? But
Right.
but no, like but so and I get that whole moral immoral contrast, right? But it's funny how we based a lot of stuff off of that movie, the
Hmm.
negatives, but the positives I absolutely love how he just had this imagery and this vision of himself of this is what I'm going to do. This is what
Hmm.
I'm going to have. you cannot change my mind from my own authenticity, my own vision.
Yeah.
I don't care how messed up you think it is. This is who I am. This is what I'm gonna do, and I'm gonna have to figure it out. And of course,
Yeah.
we see him in the movie. They lost. For those who ain't seen it, sorry, spoiler alert. But they lose their
Yeah.
mama, and so it flips a switch, and they go kill. They get everybody. Just we see what it leads to, right?
Hmm.
But then after all of that, he was willing to suffer the consequences of it. You know what I mean? He was sorry about it, but he had to see. He was focused and determined
Hmm.
on being his own man. In reality, them jokers came off the cotton fields. They came
Yeah.
off the cotton fields right into like that game. They were cutting up sideways. Frank had to go do time, came out. That I look at the movie, the Mac itself, like a documentary. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Kind of.
Exactly.
But I do. I just really love his imagery. I love his vision as far as like nobody can take away what I have seen here. He was focused on it, and he became the most successful, right? Even though it's a movie, but yeah, it was inspiring.
I mean, just to think about if you look at it from that aspect, just to think about that he came, he went to jail for stealing the car and spent all that time in jail, and then got out with nothing. And
Yep.
and even one of the greats, Richard Pryor, was also in that movie, who was like his right hand
Yes.
man, right? And he stuck by
Yes.
him, and he made sure that he took care of him, and um and he brought him up with him, right? So just to think about, just to have that vision of what I'm going to do and where I'm going to be, and to work towards that goal. It was like I said, it was on a negative aspect, but as far as being ambitious and knowing that he's following the dream of knowing where he's going to be one day, he actually absolutely did that 100%. And just to think about the movie itself, here it's 50 years later, and people are still saying lines from the Mac, and music from that movie. So it's just that era was just so prominent in our lives now.
Yep. Oh my gosh, it is. It's still vital, and and there's another movie actually, and I hate to inspire people or encourage people to go see it, but American Pimp, since we talking about that,
Mm.
American Pimp takes like that small portion from the Mac where he's like brainwashing the women, and they take it to this whole like movement of pimping in this movie, and I don't recommend. Y'all don't go watch it, but it's crazy.
Well, on that note, we're gonna go to wrap it up. So, the one thing, so I want to do uh the quote of the week. Did I skip one? Yep, the quote of the week. So the quote of the week, right? And that took this from the movie. This was something that, like I mentioned, one of my coworkers, we would talk about all the time. And after careful watching it over and over again, the whole concept of this movie is that what you get from it is the one who cares the least controls the relationship. If you think about that scene where he was in the movie with the first woman that he used to date, and he ran into her in the club, and they ended up dating. She ended up being like his, top person.
The bottom.
Yeah, there you go, the bottom girl. I'm going to say, so, and she actually laughed at him, and it just emasculated him all in one, because he was just like, I mean, why are you laughing at me? And she just like, everything you know about pimping, I taught you, but just even throw that in his face, right? And in that moment, because you could see he cared about her, he stopped caring about her. And you fast forward to the next scene where I guess she had been assaulted or something, and she was crying, telling him like, "Oh my God, this happened." He was like, "You better get back up there and go get my money." But you could
He
see he was
said,
still
"Go
kind of
get
hurt.
my money."
But he could not show any type of emotion, because he knew if he did, that would show that he cared, and he would lose control of that relationship. So the one who cares the least
Keisha,
controls the relationship.
I know you're wrapping it up, but I gotta ask you: is that a wise tactic though? Because men employ that today still. Is that a wise tactic for a
Um,
relationship that you? Okay,
um, I don't think it is, honestly. I think that it adds another, that's the game playing element. And in today's relationships, or in relationships, period, when I have someone that cares about me, I'm going to reciprocate that, and I'm going to show that love back. So if you
yeah,
act like you don't care, you show me that you don't care, what I'm going to do is start energy matching.
I'm the
So I don't
same
think it's
way.
a wise tactic. I don't think it's a wise tactic at all. So yeah,
Yeah,
um, I'm sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
and that's the thing. If you say that you care the least, or if you show that you care the least, I lose total interest and I move
Yeah.
on. I'm just
But you
saying
got,
that for the men.
but you got to think now. It's some women out there who like that part to where they feel like they got to win a
Yes.
prize, or people. Period. I mean, even when you
Yep.
have guys where you treat them bad and they want to be with you more, it's like that's almost like negative reinforcement. It's like you shouldn't reinforce that bad behavior, right? You should lead, absolutely. If a person does not care about you, unfortunately, that's not the way most relationships work. When someone shows you they don't care, it's like you want them to start caring again, so you start chasing. And unfortunately, I think that that's all too common. But if I could have things my way in a relationship, I want that love reciprocated. I want somebody that's going to pour into me like I'm pouring into them.
I do see in relationships how people, like the one who doesn't give as much attention, and even when I've pulled back, that's when that man pours in more. And I don't
Hmm.
know if we have to watch that it doesn't borderline manipulation. So yeah, that's a powerful quote.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm almost feeling like we didn't give this enough time, man. It's almost like I think we need to continue this MACK conversation a little bit next week because there's some other things. Like I said, I wrote my notes down and I wanted to go over some of this stuff, right? Because
So much in this movie.
yes, it's so much. And for you guys out there that haven't watched it, you better go get it, go watch it. And that's my look on Amazon. They only got a few copies left. So make sure you get you a copy,
Yeah.
watch it, borrow it. It's hard pressed to find it on online, and I had to actually purchase an actual copy.
Yeah.
But
I couldn't even play it. We had to find a bootleg online and watch it.
wow, fortunately for
Yep.
me, I still got my DVD player, Blu-ray disc, VHS, all them old school players. I don't have a Betamax, but I still got all my old school players. So no pun intended.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right. That's what's up.
All right, Essence. Well, I'm gonna any parting words before we go ahead and wrap this show up.
No, I appreciate being on here. For men, be encouraged. Just going over the points is why women cheat. Think about these things. Have great conversations. Be a great listener.
Mhm.
Um, tell your woman you want to be able to fix it. Sometimes she just don't know. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's okay to kind of pull back on your woman a little bit. If you're giving her too much, see if she gonna come in. See if she'll come on in a little bit more to you as opposed to you going so hard. Because I think men often have this thing where they give, 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 and they give for both of them, and they never let the woman reciprocate, and so they lose power in the relationship. And I think
Mhm.
that sometimes you got to pull back and see what this woman is giving to you. So that's what I leave off with.
Wow. Well, I appreciate that. Well, once again, thank you so much for this show. And look, I appreciate you joining me and seeing us out. We got to continue this next week. I know you're going to be right here back with me next week, right?
Oh, you know what?
All
You know I
right.
will. I
All
love it.
right.
I
Well,
love it here.
that's right. All right. Well, that is it, guys. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Alpha Intuition, and we will see you all next week. Peace.